Okay, so in the yesterday's lecture, we have discussed about the budget, in which we have discussed about the material budget, manpower budget. Now, we will continue with the yesterday's HR budget uses the financial information, personal results, and historical data from the every department. Okay, so when a human research department is a very important department in any organization, just yesterday we have discussed that without the human resources no organization will go succeed. Okay, it is not possible for the organization to achieve the objective whatever the machineries they have, whatever the money they have. The proper manpower is required at proper place, then only it is possible for them to achieve the targets or achieve the objective which are set over there. So for that purpose, HR budget is the highest budget over there. Use the financial information, performance result and historical data from every department. And as HR department will provide the manpower to production department, maintenance department, then finance department, quality department. Okay, so they need to collect the data from all these things, all the department. Since HR budget considers HR activities company wide, it is incredibly complex yet essential document to determine the company's future HR activities. Now, as a human resource department, they need to provide the right manpower throughout the organization where it is required, okay, in the right quantity also. So it is a very complex thing, and for that purpose the HR department has to perform certain activities. The information of HR project includes following things. What are those things that we are going to discuss over here? Now, the first is forecasting on the employee, number of employee. How many employees are going to be required in the particular financial year that they need to forecast. Based on the assumptions or the self forecast which is collected by the Salesforce. Okay, then employee turnover rate. What is the turnover rate of the employee? How many employees are going to be resigned? Or what is the switchover of the employees over there? Then salary data. What is the salary of the employees over the period of time in the previous year or that previous data they need to identify, and based on that, by considering the implementation rate and all these things, they need to revise it. Recruitment budget. Then next one is the recruitment. What is the budget for the recruitment? New recruitment in the new financial year. The new benefits of the program. So for the existing manpower, if the HR department has identified certain training requirement, then they need to just find out that also. What are the new benefits program? If they need to give the certain perks or amenities to the workers, then that is also going to be included over there. Then training and development. Okay, so these are the some things which need to be covered in the HR budgets. Then payroll cost. What is the cost of the payroll? What is the salary or wages that need to be paid? What is the cost of the overtime? Basically, worker level. Okay, all the workers and supervisors need to give the overtime for the excess work they have done apart from their regular shift time. Okay, so what is the cost of that overtime? They need to consider it. Then the incentive compensation. If there certain incentives are given to the worker, then what is the incentive compensation? Then strategic planning, data and consultant. So for that purpose of collecting the data for the planning, or hiring the consultant for just help to get the proper planning, that cost also going to be included over there. And HR database. The manpower budget is developed from the production budget. Now whatever the manpower budget is there, so what is the base of this manpower budget? On which basis I am going to make the manpower budget? So my manpower budget is totally depend on my production budget. Okay, so basically what happened, most of the manpower is going to be higher in the production line over there. Okay, or in the design section or in the quality sections or in the purchase department and all these things. So total manpower requirement of any organization is depending on your production. What is your production target for that particular year? Based on that production target, your manpower requirement is going to be changed. It allows the company to know in advance possible labor requirement based on the production budget. So what is allowed? So if I'm going to make a production budget, and based on that production budget I will calculate the manpower budget. So what are the advantages of this manpower budget? Because with this budget my company know in advance what is the possible requirement of the labor based on the production target which is given for that financial year. Effect of ignoring manpower budgets are, if I'm going to ignore the manpower budget, if I'm not going to give the proper budget to the HR department, Then what are the consequences of that? The first consequence is that labor shortage. If there is a shortage of labor, then your work is going to be stopped. You are not able to produce the quantity. Even you are the raw material, you are the machinery. But if there is a shortage of labor, you are not able to achieve your production target, and basically you are going to suffer. So it is the underutilization of your machinery and all these things. So if you are going to ignore the manpower budget, that will result into the labor shortage. Hire workers at higher salary, and in that case, if you want to just fulfill your target, then at that time you need to hire the worker at the say at the particular time of instant when it is required. So definitely the workers are also demanding more packages and more salary, all these things. So we need to hire the worker at the higher salary, lay off workers at the award times. Now if you are not properly doing the planning, then sometimes what happens, if you have already recruited n number of people and your production is not at of that much. Okay, so what you need to, we need to just fire certain workers, we need to just lay off certain workers. Okay, so this is going to be happier. And if you are going to lay off the workers, then there is a low morale among the workers, and that causes the insecurity. And if there is insecurity, the worker does not work wholeheartedly. Okay, so definitely the efficiency of the worker go on reducing. If there is a insecurity, the worker does not have the security of the job. Okay, so at that time what happen, they will not give the 100% efforts to them. How to prepare the manpower budget? How to prepare the manpower budget? So if I want to prepare the manpower budget, I need to record the projected unit of product produce to be produced. Okay, so how many units I am going to produce for the, for that particular period of time, or for that particular financial year or something, that I need to get. And from where I will get the number of unit produced, I will get the number of unit produced from the production budget over there. Then second thing that I need to consider is the multiply the labor cost per unit to calculate the total labor cost. Okay, say for manufacturing one unit I require the 10 rupees of the labor cost, then I need to multiply how many units. Say I am going to calculate the produce the 20 units, so 20 into 10. Okay, so that is 2000, that is the total labor cost. I need to just do this over there. So unit to be produced in the January, suppose I am going to produce the 1000 units in the January, and manpower cost is my 2 rupees per unit. So my total cost over there is what? It is 2000 rupees. This is my total labor cost over there. In the February, I am going to produce the 900 unit, and my labor cost in that case is 2.5. Okay, so labor cost per unit is 2.5 over there. So what is my total cost over there? This is 2250. If I am going to, in the March, if I am going to produce the 1100 unit, so my labor cost will change over the period of time. That will a variable factor over here, so it is 1.5 over there. And now what is the cost over there? So my cost is 1650 rupees over there. Okay, so this labor cost is a variable factor over there. As your unit produce go on increasing, the labor cost decreases, and unit produce decreases, the labor cost will increases. But because that is going to be scattered over the number of unit, or we can appoint number of worker based on the number of unit produced in the particular month. Okay, so in some organization it is possible that you can appoint the worker based on how many numbers of units are going to be produced in the particular month, but it is not applicable to all the industries. Say MNC industry cannot go for this one, the small industry may go for this one. Suppose if one worker produces average 100 units of job per month, and demand for 1 month is 1000, then we will need 10 workers to complete that work. Okay, so for example they have given, if one worker will produce 100 units in 1 month. Okay, and the target for that month is 1000 unit. The organization has decided the target of selling 1000 units in the market. Then for producing the 1000 units, I need at least 10 workers. So when I will appoint or recruit the 10 workers, then I will achieve my target over there, 10,000 1000 pieces over there. So according with the forecast, we can appoint worker at right time at right places. So if you already have planning regarding this one, so we can appoint the right number of worker at right places and at right time. It helps the supervisor to make job description in regard to complete the particular work. So that will definitely help the supervisor. As a supervisor, it will definitely help you, because your target can be achieved because the workers are available. The manpower is available to accomplish that task over there. Now organizing at supervising level. So this is the function which is performed by the supervisor, that is the planning function. Now after planning is over, the next thing is what you need to allocate the resources. We need to organize the resources. What are the resources which are available in the organization? What are the resources? Machinery is one resource, material is one resource, money is one resource, and to accomplish the task with this one we require certain methods. So all these resources are need to be organized at proper in the proper manner. So organizing is a function of management. So what is going to be happen in the organizing? So this is the next topic that we are going to start today: organizing at supervisory level. Now what is the definition of organizing? Organizing is a function of management which is followed after planning. Okay, so basically first we need to do the planning, and once the planning is over, then we need to allocate the resources. Allocation of the resources is commonly known as organizing. Once the person have planned, they should organize necessary resources for accomplishment of the desired goal. Now once your planning is over, okay, once you have the plan, then next is what you need to organize the necessary resources. How to organize the resources? We need to allocate the resources as per the requirement of that particular job description. Okay, to achieve the desired goal, the organization becomes necessary, the organizing becomes necessary when two or more people work together to achieve the common organization goals. So now this organizing is very important. Why? Because in the organization a single person does not work. The people will work in a group or a team. So at that time they will work together to achieve the common organizational goal, and when they have to achieve the common organizational goal, then the proper allocation of the resources is necessary over there. Organizing is necessary for systematic. Now why it is again necessary? For the systematic and smooth functioning of any organization. Okay, if I have allocated the resources in a proper manner, then my organization will run in a smoother manner. It is the systematic manner. Okay, assigning the work and granting the authority to attain the goals are two important elements at organizing. So basically what you are going to do in the organizing, or in organizing we will assign the work. Okay, so such type X work is assigned to, say, A type work is assigned to X number of people, Y type of work is assigned to Z number of people. Like that one, we are going to assign the work, we are going to divide the work, and then we are going to assign the work to the team of peoples, so that that can be achieved in a that can be attained in a simple way. Okay, so assigning the work and granting the authority. Once you have assigned the work, definitely you assign them the responsibility. But when you give them the responsibility, you need to give certain authority to them, because responsibility without authority does not give you the result. So when you are going to give certain responsibility, you must have grant them certain authority. Then only they will. It is possible for the supervisor or the worker to complete their task within time. Okay, so first task is the assigning work, and second one is the granting the authority to attain the goal, are two important elements of organizing at supervisory level. In the organization, in any organization, the synchronization of all the available resources takes place. So if I'm going to say take the any organization, that organization may be manufacturing organization, that may be a process organization, that may be a service organization, whatever the kind of organization is there. So when you are going to use the say make your plan, and then you are going to organize the resources. So when you are going to properly organize the resources, allocate the resources, at that time what happen, a synchronization will take place. These resources can be physical resources. Now what are the resources that need to allocate over there? So first resource is your physical resources, that may be your machinery. Okay, that may be your raw material. Then second resource is the human resource, that is the manpower over there. Third resource is the financial resource, that is the money. And last resource is the information resources. Okay, in information resources we are going to show the methods how to accomplish that particular task over there. And the next one is the organizational resources. If my organization has certain resources that need to be allocated in a proper manner over there, organizing these resources properly can enhance the productivity in the organization. So if these resources, what are these resources? First one is physical resource, second one is human resource. In what comes in the physical resources? Physical resource consists of machinery and material. Okay, human resource consists of manpower, financial resource consists of money, information resource consists of your methods for executing that task, and certain organization resources might be there. If you are going to properly organize these resources, then that will result into the increase in the productivity of the organization. Organizing refers to the relationship between people. So what is organizing? Organizing is the relationship between people, work, resources used to achieve the unique organizational goals or the objective. Okay, so this is basically the purpose of organizing. So when you are going to do the organizing, you are going to establish the relationship between the peoples, means manpower, work means your goods or productions or product, that is your machinery, material, okay, methods and other resources, so that you can achieve the organizational goals or objective. So as per Chester Bernard, he will define the organizing means what? The definition of organizing as per the Bernard is what? Organizing means a person is able to define the role position. Okay, so in organizing, the person will define the role position. What is the role of the particular person in that particular task, job? The job related to the role position. What is the job which is related to that particular role position? The coordination between the authority and responsibility. So these three things will focus. Okay, in the definition of your organizing. So basically, as per the Bernard says the organizing means the person is able to define the position. What is the positions what are the various positions for that, what are the jobs related to the particular position, and what is the relationship between the authority and responsibility. Okay, then Theo Heyman Theo Heyman defined organizing is a process of defining and grouping the activities of organization and establishing the authority and relationship between them. So as per Heyman will define organizing is a process of defining and grouping the activities. Okay, so as per Heyman, organization in organizing, what you are going to do, we are going to define the activities, we are going to group the activities of the organization, and we will establish the authority and relationship between them. Then, as per Allen, okay, so according to Louis Allen will define organizing as organizing is a process of identifying and grouping the work to be performed. Okay, so Allen will define organizing in the sense that he will identify the processes, he will group the processes and work, define and delegating the authority and responsibility. He will define the authority, he will delegate the responsibility, and establishing the relationship for the purpose of motivating the worker to work most effective manner while achieving the organizational objective. Okay, so this is the definition of organizing which is given by Louis Allen. So as per Louis Allen, what he says, organizing is a process, okay, of identifying and grouping the work to be performed. So in this process, you need to identify which works you need to perform, you need to group types of worker in a common. So those works which are in the similar manner, which are going to be performed in the similar manner, we need to make a group of this work. Then define and delegating the authority and responsibility. We need to define the authority, we need to define the responsibility, and we need to delegate the authority. Okay, so authority delegation is very important over here. Then you need to establish the relationship between the for the purpose of motivating the worker to work most effectively together while achieving the organization goal. So these are the various definitions which are given by the Bernard, Heyman, Allen. Now in short, if I want to say what is organizing, we can say that organizing is a process of arranging resources. Okay, so basically in organizing, what you are going to do, we are arranging the resources, we are allocating the work authority. First, we will arrange the resources, then we allocate the work authority, then allocate the available resources, then whatever the resources which are available, we are going to allocate them among the member of the organization to achieve the organization goal. Okay, so organization establish relationship between people and work resources. So basically in the organizing, we are going to establish the relationship between people and work resources. What are the resources which are available to this one? So in short, we say that the organizing is a process of arranging resources, allocating the work authority, and allocating the available resources among the member of the organization. Where you are going to just allocate these resources, we will allocate the resources among the member of the organization. And why you are going to allocate these? Because I want to achieve my organizational goals. Okay, so for achieving the organizational goals, we need to allocate the resources, we need to allocate the authority, and we need to arrange the resources. So organizing at supervisory level can be in the form of, so if a supervisor has to organize the resources, then what is the role of the supervisor? How the supervisor will going to organize this one? So the first thing that the supervisor is supposed to do is develop the job description. सर्वात आधी सुपरवायझरला काय करावं लागेल की जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन डेव्हलप करावं लागतील. व्हॉट इज द पर्टिक्युलर जॉब? सो ही नीड्स टू write down what is the nature of the job, what is the description of that job, then designating tasks. So once he has developed the job descriptions, he need to designate, he need to allocate that job particular task to the particular group of peoples, okay, or particular person. So that is the designation, designating the task. Then third one is what? Defining responsibilities of the worker with the specific skill set needed to be complete the task. Okay, and then he need to define what is the skill set required to accomplish the task. Okay, so if someone has to just operate the lathe machine, so in that case, he must have the knowledge of how to operate the lathe machines, how to measure that with the help of vernier caliper or something. Okay, so in that case, we what are the skill sets, special skill sets, specific skill set required to complete that particular task that need to be defined over there. Okay, then fixing location of the equipment. Then the next thing that he needs to do is that he need to just fix the location of the equipment, where that equipment is going to be available. Okay, so location is also important over it. Then collecting the data for developing the budget. Then next thing he has to do is what? He need to collect the data. Okay, why he need to collect the data? Because he need to just go for the budgeting, then only the money is going to be sanctioned for that purpose. Then arrangement of the workstation and storage areas. Okay, so after that he need to just find out the arrangement, what is the location of that particular workstation. If the raw material is available, then what is the storage space over there, at which location he is going to store, so that he can be the worker can easily access to that from that location. And resolving the conflict among the subordinates, and this is the one of the most important role of the supervisor over there. Because when the number of persons are working together in a group or in a team, the nature of each and every person is different, the thinking pattern of each and every person is different, so definitely there are certain conflicts arises there. So some conflicts may arises over there. Someone is thinking that you are to supposed to do in this manner, someone is saying that you are to supposed to do in this manner. So there may be some ego problem and all these things. So some conflict arises, then it is the duty of the supervisor to resolve that conflict in a proper manner. Okay, so conflict resolution is the very important thing that need to be performed by the supervisor. And organization is an open system. Now, if you are going to discuss the organization, organization is an open system. This is because for every time we have to interact with the surrounding while organizing. Okay, so organizing is an open system. Now why it is an open system? Because every time when there is something you need to just do, so at that time we need to just interact with the surrounding. So definitely your organizing, when you are going to perform the task of organizing, external and internal factors are there. The external factors are not in your control, internal factors also you can control to certain extent, but as a supervisor you don't have the complete control over the internal factor also, and external factors are totally out of your reach. So that definitely affect the work over there. So it is the open system. Whatever the changes which are going to be happen in the surrounding, that will definitely affect on the organizing. So effective organizing depends on several important concepts. Now, there are so many concepts on which the effective organizing will depend. What are these concepts? Like specialization of the worker. Okay, one is what? Specialization of worker. Second one is what? Chain of command. Okay, so whatever the instructions which are flowing only through a particular channels only. Then authority. This is the third thing. Fourth one is your delegation of authority. Okay, then fifth one is the supervisor span of control. Okay, to what extent the supervisor has control over the things. Then level of centralization. Okay, so what is the level of centralization or decentralization? This is related to your authority. Okay, so these are the things on which my organizing will depend. The first one is the specialization of the worker. Okay, what is the specialization of the worker? So some worker have specialized in technical fact, some worker have some computer skills, some worker have good machine operating skills, some worker have programming skills. So we need to find out what is the specialization of particular worker. Then chain of command, how the information is going to flow, what how the commands are going to flow from top level management to the middle to the lower level management, like this one. Then authority, what is the authority of a particular person? So what is the authority, what is to what extent the authority of the supervisor, middle level manager, top level manager. Delegation of the authority, how the authority is delegated in the organization, that also affect your organizing. Excessive delegation is also bad, and very less delegation is also bad. Both will lead to the say you are not able to achieve your targets within the stipulated time period. Supervisor span of control. Okay, span of control means what? The extent to which, okay, how many persons are in direct control of that supervisor, that can represent the supervisor span of control. Level of centralization and decentralization. Okay, so level of centralization means if all the powers are in the hand of a single person, then this is called as the centralized organization. Okay, so if all the power is in the hand of a single person, then that organization called as the centralized organization. And in decentralized organization, the power is divided to the number of persons over there. Okay, so this is your decentralized organization. Then to certain extent you have to be centralized, to certain extent you also have to be decentralized. If you are going to put all the powers in your hand, that is quite difficult for you to control each and every activity. The proper control will not be there. But if it is a totally decentralized organization, then also the control is not possible over there, because you don't have that much information whether the same thing is going on properly or not. Importance of organizing. Okay, importance of organizing. It establishes the pattern of relationship by giving duties. It establishes the pattern of relationship by giving duties and responsibility to the individual group. So when you're going, what is the importance of organizing? Why organizing is so important? Organizing is important because that organizing establish the pattern of relationship. The organizing establish the pattern of relationship by giving duties and responsibility to the individual or a group of people. ऑर्गनायझिंग मध्ये काय करतो आपण, एक रिलेशनशिप इस्टॅब्लिश करतो. Okay, so how you are going to establish the relationship? Because we will allocate certain responsibilities and we will allocate certain authorities to the group of people or individual. Then it helps to achieve the organization goal. So organizing, if it is a proper organizing, then the organization will help you to achieve the organization goal by facilitating the good administration. It helps for optimum resource use, like man, machinery, and material. Okay, so if I have the proper organizing, then I can use my resources like machinery, material, manpower to its optimum. Optimum means not maximum, not minimum, to the maximum extent possible with all the factors into consideration. It provides the adequate communication. It also provides you the adequate communication. Okay, it helps in the effective use of available manpower. Okay, whatever the manpower which is available in the organization that can be effectively used. It helps to initiate the growth and diversification. Okay, so what is the growth requirement? What is the diversification that can be initiated with this one? It helps in the good human treatment of the employees, and then it stimulates the creativity among the worker. Organizing, if the organizing is possible, then only it is possible. Okay, so good human treatment stimulate the creativity. It helps to minimize the wastage, confusion, corruptions, and inefficiencies. Okay, so if organizing is possible, proper, if organizing is proper, then your wastage is going to be minimized. There is minimum wastage. Confusion is not there because everything is clearly defined. Okay, corruption is not there because authority responsibilities are already defined, and punishment or your rewards are also defined in the systems, and inefficiencies are going to be eliminated over there, as you have already defined all these things. So these factors are going to be minimized in the system. Now, what is the role of supervisor for while organizing the physical resources? As a supervisor, the organizing the physical resources is very important activity. Supervisor म्हटल्यानंतर त्याला मशीन शॉप फ्लोअरला वर्क करायचंय, and he has to accomplish the work through the workers. Okay, so he need to just allocate or organize all the physical resources in a proper manner. For this, work is required to be divided among the workers so that they can perform a specialized portion. Now, if I need to do that, what I have to do? I need to divide the work among the worker. Why? Why we need to divide the work among the worker? Because When I'm going to divide the work among the worker, they can perform a specialized portion only, a specific portion. ओके, आणि स्पेसिफिक पोर्शन परफॉर्म केल्यामुळे त्यांची ॲक्युरेसी वाढत जाईल आणि टाइम रिक्वायर फॉर एक्झिक्युटिंग दॅट टास्क विल बी reduces. Instead of complete the complete job by a single person, if you are giving the single thing that he need to do only this portion of the work, so what happen, the time required for uh, completing that work is will reduces because the person is going to be expert in that particular task. This activity will provide the clarity in the job assignment. So when you are going to do, so there is a clarity in the job assignment, which type of job is assigned to the particular worker. It also helps the worker to increase their skill set, and with this your skill set go on increasing. Okay, so simple example, if you are going to do, say when you just start typing. Okay, so initially your typing speed is only 20 letters per minute or something. But when you're going to practice it n number of times, when you're going to repeat it, definitely your speed go on increasing. Okay, so in the same manner, if I will give you this particular job portion only, and that need to be do you repeatedly, your accuracy increases, your speed also increases. So initially, the time required for completing the job is 5 minutes, but if you have to repeat it for 1000 times or more than that, the time required drastically reduces from 5 minutes to 3.5 minutes. So that is the situation. Okay, so because of this, the what happened, first I will get the more accurate, my productivity also increases and the accuracy also increases, and the worker skill set also increases. Then supervisor has the right to give order, or that is authority. Again, my supervisor has the right to give orders. Okay, supervisor ला right आहे की त्यांनी order दे, he can give the orders to the laborers. They are also liable to accept responsibility for the worker, the work is done correctly. Okay, so they are liable to accept the responsibilities for the work, whether the work is done correctly. Definitely, as he have given certain authority, so definitely his responsibility also, whatever the work done by the worker, the workers are not responsible, responsibility comes on the shoulder of the supervisor. Okay, because he has the authority. Okay, so basically what happened, authority and responsibility always go hand in hand. When you have authority you must have responsibility, and when you have responsibility you must have the authority. The status of the work done shall be communicated to higher level of management, and then you need to communicate what is the status of the work to the higher level of management. This is again the work of supervisor. Supervisors are responsible for extracting the discipline among worker. Okay, so there must be a discipline among the worker, and who is responsible for maintaining the discipline among the worker? Supervisor is the responsible for maintaining the discipline among the worker. Then supervisors are also responsible for building the moral among the worker. So this is also important. All the responsibility, if you are going to come, see, all the responsibilities comes on the shoulders of the supervisor over here. But at the same time, the supervisor also have certain authority for maintaining the responsibility discipline. If some worker is not following the discipline, he has the right to give certain punishment to him. Okay, so and in the same manner, he should maintain the morale among the worker by motivating, constantly motivating the employees. Okay, then supervisor must offer loyalty and cooperation towards worker while organizing the resources. Okay, so basically what happened, as a role of the supervisor you should be very unbiased. Okay, you have to just treat all the workers with the same ground out there. The unity of command requires the worker to report only one supervisor or superior. There must be unity of command. When there is unity of command, the workers will directly report to the one person who is responsible or who is his immediate authority. If they report to more than one supervisor, it will create confusion. But if there are more than one supervisor, that is the case in most of the organization, then that will create the confusion and conflict among them. Okay, so next is what, it is also necessary that all individual, including manager, supervisor, must have their personal interest at last priority. Okay, this is very important. When you are working in the organization, your interest, your individual interest should be at the last priority. The first priority is given to the organization goal. Okay, and your whatever your personal interest may be, that is at the last priority. Worker shall be paid according to the quality of the work instead of favoring selected worker. As we have already discussed, that a supervisor or manager must be unbiased. ओके, अनबायस म्हणजे काय, कोणाला फेवरिझम केलं नाही पाहिजे त्यांनी, हा माझ्या ओळखीचा आहे किंवा माझ्या त्याच्यामधला आहे म्हणून त्याला त्यांनी कमी काम केलं तरी चालेल वगैरे असं नाही. ही शुड बी अनबायस. ओके, सो you need to treat all the workers at the same ground. Okay, order instruction shall flow through chain of commands. So whatever the orders or whatever the instruction, that should always flow through the certain chain of command from higher manager to the supervisor. Formal communication and complaints are moved in the upward in the same channel. Okay, so if orders and instructions are there, they will flow from top to bottom, and if complaints are there, then that will flow from bottom to top. Employees are also treated to be equally and fairly. So this is also important. Whatever the employees are there, those employees should be treated equally and fairly. Okay, supervisor shall encourage initiative among the worker. So as a role of the supervisor, you need to initiate the worker to take the decisions. We need to just initiate the worker, give the say motivate the worker to give suggestions and all these things. Okay, so today we are going to stop over here. In the next